talking, man, you and Steve, it sounds like you guys are about to have a knockdown drag out.
No way, really. Me and
Yeah.
Steve D.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just went live, by the way.
Okay.
That's hilarious. I can't believe it. I never even thought, like, I don't listen to the podcast, right? When I'm on it, I don't listen to it because I don't like to hear myself. But
Yeah, me neither.
that's funny. I had no idea people thought that. Okay, I'll start being nice to Steve.
No, dude. No. That makes the show. And I think no, man, we're just being ourselves, dude. We're just being, dudes talking tech, man.
Dora, can you center yourself? Can you see yourself in the camera?
It's because me and Steve D talk so much after on Nuts at Night, and we battle back and forth and talk and just do normal stuff. I guess we're used to that, right?
I know. That's, you guys are very used to it, but for somebody not hearing that every post show, get the impression that they get is it's different.
That's funny. Did you read one of the emails or something?
I think Dor sent me one.
Yeah, the one email basically said, "Why was Chris being such a hole?"
No way, really?
Yes, and I said, kidding around. That's because he is one. I said no.
Kidding around.
Nice.
I said for over an hour every Thursday night after Nuts at Night, they basically talk like this to each other the whole time, and everybody in that post show talks like to each other that way. I don't think they realized at the time that people who never heard them communicate there are going to hear them communicate here. And one guy said that they thought that you were going to come down and punch Steve D in the face because of his quick stuff. And now here's the thing: the first time I heard it, I was literally halfway through, and I was like, I don't think this guy knows what he's talking about. And then I listened to the second half, and I was like, I can kind of see what they're thinking. And it was just because you both kept, I don't want to say snipping at each other, but like almost cutting each other off.
Yeah.
and it's perfectly normal for you guys. And that's what I tried to explain to both of them. No. These are that's how they communicate best.
Well, Dor, both Steve and Chris are very frank, and they're very passionate about what they talk about. So,
Well, yeah. Here's the thing, and that's what I said. The other guy said they're both very honest. They're both very knowledgeable. They both know what they are doing. I said one guy likes apples, the other guy likes oranges, and that's just the way it is. But I'll say I liked it. I thought it's a really good show.
I mean, I like what Steve says when you can hear him.
I know, Steve D. Jeez.
That's
His
funny.
technical
I had no
difficulties.
idea any of that.
What'd you do, Steve C? You ran him off?
He's not feeling well.
Oh, really? Oh, dang. That's not good.
Kid germs.
Was he going to come on tonight?
Yes. I didn't want him to come on since I knew you were coming on. I'm not kidding.
But yeah,
really?
Chris,
is it bothering you, Steve?
No, it didn't bother me, but I wanted to just mix it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And
next time him and me are on a real show, I'll kiss him.
Oh, I can't wait for that show.
dang.
How do we get to the? Is there a chat room? Like, are you doing this on Justin TV too?
We don't use the Justin starting tonight. We don't use the Justin TV chat anymore. We use the lounge chat room.
Okay, cool.
There are people in the chat.
I know,
and I keep telling them to get the hell out.
every time you log into the Justin chat, it says we're not using the Justin chat anymore. If you want to chat, use the lounge, which is irc.freenode.net. The channel's Podnutz. Get on your IRC and figure it out.
Gotcha. Yes, sir, Mr. Steve. Yes, sir.
No, not talking to you, Timster, but like if anybody is listening, because I know there's people in the lounge are listening.
And it's a huge plus because if they're at all comfortable, that means any time of the day or night they can log in for conversation, for assistance, to help someone, whatever.
Yeah, it's a centralized place. It's better for all.
Yeah.
Too bad it doesn't help them stupid ads.
I know. I put a disclaimer on podnuts.tv. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Here, I'll pull it up real quick. It says, I know the 30-second ad sucks. I didn't put it there, but if you can make it through, you won't see any more.
Oh my God, that's
because
great.
it only plays once.
Yeah, let's just hope it stays that way.
I know, man.
What are you laughing at, Dor?
That is great. He put that on that page. That is fantastic.
Are you being sincere, Dor?
I love it. I honestly didn't think you would put it up there like that. So I salute you, sir.
Thank you. All right. I think we're almost ready. I want to get rid of this stupid phone behind me. Let me do that first. It's bugging me.
Oh, God.
I had a tough time trying to figure out what to talk about.
You.
Yeah.
That happens when you have limited knowledge.
Oh, wow. That stings. Gotta go.
You could definitely leave me hanging. That would hurt pretty bad, actually.
See, just be like me and only come on a computer tech show once every 3 months, and you got plenty of stuff.
Right.
Be like Dora and deliver a freaking Steve Gibson-esque episode of Linux for the rest of us.
Oh, Steve, come on.
Is that the one that was just put out?
I know. I had to replace. The reason we're a little late is I had to replace my hard drive after that last show.
Dude,
and it was
come
a
on,
2 gig drive.
I've been telling you for weeks to cut me off if you think I'm going long.
No, the reason I didn't, Dor, is because I always think that more is better.
No, it's so you could mess with me after the fact.
No, seriously. I like messing with you, but more is better. You were just pumping out content. I mean, it wasn't like we were just like talking nonsense. It was fine.
Dor was in the groove.
He was in the groove. Damn, he was in the I think he had extra Dr. Pepper tonight or something.
Well, because last week it was almost all emails. There was news built up. There was stuff built up.
You're a machine, Dor.
Had to get my colon cleansed.
You're just a freaking machine, man.
You are. All right, are you chaps ready? Give me like actually one or were we starting about a minute?
Oh, excuse me. How was business for you? Oh God.
People.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at. I can't remember his name. Tim.
Yes, sir.
How's business in February?
Has picked up quite nicely.
As that February sucked for me. It was
coming
terrible.
into March is looking really good too. So if that keeps up, I'm a happy man.
Good.
Man, December and January just killed me, man.
Wow, that's hilarious. That's exact opposite of me.
I don't see how.
December, January were amazing. My best 2 months I ever had.
Wow.
And then February this month was terrible.
Yeah, and I am a fan of you doing the maintenance plan, Chris.
Oh, thank you.
I tried it, and I tried it, of course, differently, but nobody went for it.
Yeah, I'm selling a decent amount. Every other customer, I would say, are buying it.
That's great.
I'll implement that, man. I still consider myself a rookie, so I have other hurdles to get over.
Tim, sir, I don't know why your little freaking buttons on the Skype are not going away, but I don't know what to do about it right now. Oh, I know why.
See, just talk it out. Ta-da!
I got a topic, Chris, that's going to I think a topic's just going to play right into your hands. I'm going to pitch you a softball.
I'm going to be nice, extremely nice to everybody tonight. Nice, Chris.
Chris, you don't have to be nice to me, man.
Thank God, because I can't be. It was all just...
Exactly, I know.
Nobody's nice to anybody here. So what difference does it make?
I don't know what my topic is. It just is something.
Nice.
I haven't had a cigarette in 10 days or 12 days, whatever the hell it is.
Cool, dude.
Good
hey,
man.
I smoked 2 packs a day for almost 25 years.
So
and
which
I quit.
technique?
Good for you.
Chris?
The patch and gum.
And how expensive was that for you for the first week?
I bought the patch at Costco, like the Nicorette patch. They had a $20 coupon jobby if you bought like the whole 6 weeks at one time, and
Right.
it came out to be not bad. It came out to be like $15 a week,
Oh God,
which is
that's good.
actually cheap.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Ugh. Let's see here. Is the recording all set up? Can you give me a check? Door.
Check, test, check.
Thank you. Tim.
Test 1, 2, check, test.
Thank you. Chris?
Yeah, I'm eating the Podnutz logo. See?
Oh, sorry. That's in your face. How does it taste? All right.
Mmm, like chocolate.
Tastes nutty.
Nutsy.
All right. You guys ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Recording on Wirecast. The Roundtable Computer Repair Show. The Do-It-Yourself Computer Repair Show. We had a little bit of a change in the format, so I don't know what we're going to call it just yet, but it's about computer repair. So if that's what you came for, we're not going to disappoint you, I hope. I'm going to leave that up to the guests. They could very well disappoint you, and I could claim no responsibility for that. Let me introduce them right now. First, we got in the upper left-hand corner of your screen, now in the center, Door-to-Door Geek, Steve McLaughlin. Hey, Door.
Hello, all.
You may know Door from such podcasts as Linux for the Rest of Us, Linux Basics, and just all around the web. Tim Kelly from timscomputerfix.com. Hey, Tim.
Hey, Steve. Hello, everybody.
How's it going with you?
Going good, man. Just plugging along. Business is picking up.
Oh, it's good to hear. Good to hear. Timster is very clutch. That's I think Timster's main name right now is Mr. Clutch. I always appreciate Timster's contributions. And we have Chris Freshbooks Barry from technologyadventures.com.
Woo! Boom, boom. Watch out, Steve D.
What's up, Chris?
How's it going? Great.
Oh, good. All right, guys. Well, let's get started here. As you know, the new format is we each bring a computer repair topic to the table, kind of like the old Great Tech Debate style. And we just share each other's views, opinions on it. Say, share our techniques. If you have any secrets you want to divulge about what's going good in your business, we go over that. So that's how we do it here. Let's start off with Door-to-Door Geek. Door, what do you have for us this week?
Okay, well, I just first wanted to mention William Tidwell said it perfectly on the first episode. WSUS offline updater is something everyone should at least look at using. Such a time savings. Love it. Really, the topic I wanted to bring up is the fact that anyone can do remote support on virtually any operating systems with very little to no cost. I can tell you, I've been doing remote support now for 7+ years. The first tool I used was called Beyond Remote. Beyond Remote was a desktop application, and I still had to modify the port forwarding on the router, and I had to have the person know what their external IP address was for me to remote in. That's how far back I go with remote support.
Wow.
For a couple reasons. I don't like porn keyboards. I don't like computers filled with roaches. I don't like burning my gas up. I like sitting at home, feeding my kids, fixing a computer, and hanging out in the Podnutz lounge.
I must say, remote support is kind of a different beast, Door. If you could, that sounds all great. If you could pull it off, were you able to find that most of your jobs you could do remotely?
I find even to the people I talk to, it turns out if they know what they're doing, then 80+% of the jobs are software related. Very rarely is it hardware related. And when it is, it's just like everything else. It comes in waves. So you're ready for it.
Yeah.
In the last month and a half, I've had 4 power supply issues from customers.
All right. Well, what software do you use now for remote support?
Well, right now, honestly, I use two applications in tandem. When I have a brand new user who I've never worked on before, or a customer has a brand new computer I've never worked on before, I'm loving Mikogo, Mikogo. And there's a couple reasons for it. One, it works beautifully in Wine under Linux. I can be on my Ubuntu desktop and easily and simply remote into another person's computer, and they have no idea that I'm on Ubuntu. Two, it's as easy as go to assist or log me in rescue. All the person has to do is go to join.mikogo.com, type in a number that I typically text to them. Since everybody has cell phones now, I do not like being on the phone saying 9, 8, no, 9, 9. No,
like Nancy,
9.
like Nancy.
Exactly. So I'm sending them all text messages. All they got to do is type in that code number, put in whatever nick they want, hit return. Your typical Windows dialog pops up, open, run, save, or open, save, cancel, run, save, cancel. Click run. Okay. Now just keep clicking yes. You only got to click it twice. And by default, my Mikogo settings tell the other application, you are going to host your desktop to me. So they don't have to hit anything. The one yes is, do you want to install? The next yes is, do you want to present? And that's it. And then bam, I'm in their desktop.
I like the texting idea. I think that's pretty cool.
It speeds up the process because, as we all know, time is money. Whenever
you're just giving up on Log Me In?
No, two applications. I like Mikogo because it's much easier to set up for a new client. Number one, it has some nice features. I'm not going to lie. It has built-in file transfer, and it works marvelously in Linux. So I'm a big fan of that. I will say also, for those users that use the fruit-bearing operating system, if you want to try Mikogo and it's not ready for that OS, try an application called Wineskin. Wineskin is like Wine on Linux. It lets you run Windows applications on that fruit-bearing operating system. Might not be perfect. Works good enough on mine. It's worked on mine for a long time, so it wouldn't shock if it works there also. And then what I typically do is when I remote in, and when I'm pretty sure it's clean enough, there's no key loggers running, I then install Log Me In Free. Now, I will tell you, I always go on my computer, change the Log Me In password, then on the customer's computer, install Log Me In, and once it's successfully connected, I go back and I put my password back.
Gotcha.
Yes, it might be paranoid, but if there is a key logger on that system, it will then have your password. I don't want to risk that.
Okay. Now why do you install Log Me In? Because you can boot from safe into safe mode and stuff like that.
Well, one, it can be unattended. So all the customer has to do is tell me they have an issue. I say, just leave your computer on. And bam, Bob's your uncle, I'm in.
But
two.
I'm sorry. The magic question. Is Log Me In free for business users like me and you?
Well, Mikogo.com and Log Me In Free both are explicitly free for residential and commercial use. Mikogo is for life. They said they're not going to change that. They're going to have paid versions with more collaborative features, more like GoToMeeting. Log Me In Free in their license agreement says free until 2021 for commercial use.
Really? They say that?
They say that. Well, they had to pick a date. They can't say forever.
It's interesting.
Techs who use TeamViewer, I'm telling you right now, you lose credibility every time you disconnect and that customer sees a buy button saying this is not free for commercial use.
Is that what happens?
Every time you disconnect with TeamViewer that I've seen on every Windows computer, after you connect, the local client launches a window that says buy, and it says like 3 lines of text. And I've seen once where it says this is not free for commercial use.
That's super lame.
But if you have the commercial version, so if you buy the commercial version, you can download like a little stub that you can put your name on, right? It says Technology Adventures calling card, download on their computer. If I use that part to log in, I don't think then it pops up afterwards when I log out. I think it's only on the free version that it does that.
How much is it? Go ahead, Chris.
You're cheating the system anyways if you're doing it the way, if you're doing it for free, then you should have that pop up and you should look hokey because you're doing it for free and you're not going with the rules. So it's expensive though. TeamViewer is like $680 for the one person license.
Maybe in Canada. Here it's $780. $780 for each administrator.
Does that give you permission to use it for free?
That gives you the ability to remote into customer's computer. I don't think there's a limit on the number of customers you can remote into, but you can only have it used by one person at one time.
And only 3 customers at a time, I think.
Oh, really? Wow.
At one time, like three connections at one go. I think. I haven't looked in a while. I could be wrong.
Yeah. That's kind of scary.
That's steep.
It's expensive, but you know what? It's good, but there is glitches with it. I tried it. I bought it. But then they give you a 7-day sort of, once you've purchased it, you get 7 days to return it. And I returned it. It's good, but it's not perfect. And there is issues with it. And Kaspersky and a couple other really strong antiviruses block it. So
yeah, I've seen that.
You have to watch that. And I use Kaspersky. So for me, it was game over. I couldn't use it automatically because all the customers I've ever done that I'm blocked. I can't even get in without me telling them to turn off their antivirus, which is not cool.
What do you use now, Chris?
Log Me and Rescue.
Okay.
Which is expensive, but it's I am Mr. I want to make it as easy as possible for my customers. I don't want them to have to even do more than one thing. And Log Me and Rescue is so simple for them. They download one stub and hit run, and I'm in. The other thing that I really wanted is I really wanted to leave like a little calling card icon on my customer's desktop saying, if you need service, double click on this. And it has my logo on it. And with Log Me and Rescue, I can do that. So I leave like a little calling card on all my customers' computers that if they ever have a problem, they double click, it pops up, and I have it. So it sends me an email saying this customer needs my support. And then I can email them back going, listen, I'm just on the road. I can support you in an hour. And they're like, okay, great. So it's like, it's an instant automatic them contacting me with just a double click, which is perfect. It's exactly what I want. I want my customers to be able to get hold of me instantly. Yeah. $70 a month's expensive. There's no doubt about it. It's supposed to be 100 and some odd, but I got a deal on it because I just called them and told them I wanted a deal. And so everyone could probably just do that. And it's not cheap, but I personally think it pays for itself. I looked around thinking about doing something for free, and I put some stuff on Twitter, and Dor, you responded with what you did, and a few other people too, and I tried them out. They just weren't quite as seamless as this.
Well, Chris, do you have any personal preferences? Do you have something against Log Me In?
No, Log Me In Rescue is just above and beyond Log Me In. But it's the same company, right?
Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I'll say more than a couple of my customers work at the NSA. They do not trust the simplicity of the Log Me In Rescue product. They've actually dumped who they were using because of it. They understand security, convenience, opposite ends of the poles, and they'll never meet. And Log Me In, they believe, has less security because of it. They liked Makogo because they had to actively initiate it.
What do you think, Chris, about doing the door method of Makogo and then Log Me In?
Yeah, it's a good idea. I like it. I just don't like having to do two things. I don't like having to go through two different services, Makogo, and then through.
Well, I prefer it. I do not want to put all my eggs in one basket.
And there's also not a calling card, and that calling card to me is worth it. Right there, it's worth $70.
I just put a shortcut on their desktop to doorgeek.com. There's a form right there they can fill out.
Right.
There's sometimes when you do a remote job that you don't need anything more advanced than Makogo, And then,
honestly, about half the time I find I don't. And because I'm running Linux, this is me spouting off. In most modern distro, there's a one-line command that comes built into the system that you run, and it will turn you that drive that folder into a web server. So I technically don't even need file sharing, because all I got to do is open that up, open up the port on the router, and on the customers, browse to that. And then I can disconnect from them while it's doing that download. I actually, in a way, prefer having my stuff separate, because I gain a little bit more control, and I really don't want all my eggs in one basket. I've seen too many companies.
I don't know about eggs in a basket. We're talking. I know. I understand what you're saying.
Well,
free is
next
good.
year. Next year, Log Me In could jack their prices by 100%, and then every customer would have to be modeled.
Chris, how much is Lot Rescue again?
I pay $70
a month.
Yeah.
I'm I like convenience, but it's a trade-off. You got free and then you got convenience.
It's expensive. So Log Me In Rescue, one more thing I'll say about it. You know what? It's not really made for me. It's probably not made for any of us. You know what it's made for? Is like a call center.
Yeah.
You should see the features in this thing. Holy smokes. You can give like technicians special privileges on what they can do. You can just drop right into like a little script area, a script, and then hit run script. And then it automatically on the customer's computer, without you having to download it or upload it to their computer, runs the script. It does like all these features that even I don't use, that I think like a call center with like 30 technicians, where you'd have like, a high-end technician that knows everything, and then sort of the starter technician that doesn't know as much. So the starter technician doesn't have as many rights in Log Me In as the other tech. So it's very, very detailed. And I don't use half that stuff, but
yeah. I don't hang my hat on remote support at all. I do my fair share of them, but I hardly ever need any of those type of advanced features when I do it.
Okay, sorry, Chris.
Sorry, yeah. I'll say one more thing. I guess my other thing, and it's just my thought, is I'm not cheap as a technician. Like I charge a lot to my customers, a lot, and to them, I think I want to be easy for them. Like I want for what I'm doing, the simplest thing for the customer, because I charge them so much. I don't want them to have to do any more than they have to, because they're paying me so much money. So I try and buy and do everything that's the simplest for the customer. And that's sort of just always the way I think. But, I'm not opposed to doing something different.
Right. Well, I'll say this. Nothing is black and white 100%. I think my solution is for beginner, struggling technicians. And yours is for somebody who's really deep into the career of being a computer repair tech. Here's my only question. Can you do unattended support? Because I'm guessing once they run the stub, they're in your system.
Yeah, so I have a choice of doing, so I do unattended, and you can, so if it's a customer that I sell my managed IT services, I do unrevoked unattended support. So they give me as much, I can come in whenever I want. There's also ways where you can set it. I can go in for an hour's worth of time. I can go in for 24 hours worth of time. And then I just go in, click on their name, type in a password, and I'm in their system. So yes, full unattended. Now I'll say one drawback, and it's a huge drawback to me of Log Me In Rescue, but I work around it, is it doesn't work on the Mac. It has to be in Windows.
How do you work around that?
I run a VM.
How would it not? Log Me In.
I know it's a browser plugin, and it's a browser plugin. It plugs
won't work in Firefox?
Nope. There's no Mac support. It doesn't work at all. I know. I can't believe it. They said they're working on it. Now, I can get into Macs, so I can remote into a Mac and fix it, but I can't run the piece of software on the Mac, which is weird. Yeah. And the other thing is, it's on the iPad. It's on the iPhone, so that's another reason I like it. There is Log Me In on my iPad.
Right. Well, I would say, honestly, take a look at Wineskin. That might let you run something natively enough, because I can tell you, here's the ironic thing. Firefox on Windows, Firefox on Linux, Firefox on Linux via Wine, it runs fastest in Wine.
Oh, so I'd try that.
I would honestly give that a shot.
All right.
That is pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, and I'll say, if you want to talk complicated, Chris, also to us, money equals convenience. No, I can't argue that. I'd be a fool. What I'm doing now also is I have the ability to remote from my phone, my Android device, to my home desktop computer. And so I don't have to pay the $30 Log Me In fee yet. I remote from my phone to my computer. From my computer, I launch Chrome and I launch Log Me In, and then I'm in a customer's computer.
Yeah, that's cool. I do the same thing on my iPad. It's pretty sweet.
And it sure isn't convenient to do this. You know what I mean? If I would pay the $30, it'd be much more convenient. I know that.
It's good.
Sorry, the Mac Geek had just said in the Podnutz forum, no, I can log into a Mac and fix a Mac, but it does not work on my Mac. I can't use it on my Mac. Trust me, I've tried. I've just talked to my person there, and they said no.
Right. See, I had the inverse issue. I can, from a Linux computer, use the browser to remote into somebody's computer, but you cannot install the Log Me In client on Linux at all to remote into it.
So weird. I have the same thing.
I know.
I think a plugin is a plugin. I didn't know that a difference for a plugin from one to the next.
Makes no sense. And I had the opposite problem with NT Connect, was one I tried about a year ago. You could only use it from a Windows computer, but you could remote into Windows, Mac, and Linux.
Interesting.
It's like, I don't understand why they can't. Nobody seems to be able to do both ways.
All right. Cool, man. We good on remote for now? Remote software for now?
Yeah, and I just want to say, I used to use one-click VNC, not single-click VNC. Big difference.
Okay.
Besides just a couple letters, one-click VNC was literally one click, just what you were saying, Chris. I had it on doortodoorgeek.com/helpmesteve.exe. Customer would download it, click run, and I was on their computer. No issues whatsoever. No ports on their side. My ports had to be open. The bad thing about that was the customer never knew ahead of time if it was 32 or 64-bit, so they never knew which one to download. So it always became the pain of, oh, well, now try typing this. Oh, well, okay. You know, so convenience does, I won't put myself out too much, and I won't put my customer out too much. I'm not the best businessman, and you know that, Chris, and you're being very gentle on me. I'm a horrible businessman. If I charged more, I would have a paid product that I would pay for, and they would be paying me for it. I give my customers a pretty good deal. In the long run, I believe it's still paying off for me because I'm getting so many customers. But I don't think, you know, I charge them enough to validate using those other services, and that is basically an insult on myself.
It can be handled, Dor.
Since Chris is being so nice, I'll throw myself out there.
That's very noble of you.
Wow, I'm being so nice. Everyone out there hear that?
Oh, aren't you sweet?
He's being so freaking nice. Don't piss him off.
Right, and I'll tell you right now, on Twitter, he's very responsive to issues or questions you pose towards him.
Yes, so flood him with tech questions. Flood him with tech questions.
Because I won't lie, I love ribbing him on Twitter all the time, but when I need genuine help, he is right there for me.
Okay, let's end this love affair and go over to Timster here.
I don't like Timster.
Chris plays hardball, man. Hey, you know, what would your business be without the customers, right?
Right.
How about the old saying, sometimes the best job is the one you don't get. So basically, I'm just going to throw this up in the air. I mean, there's going to be all sorts of different perspectives about this and different answers, and each tech is going to have their own opinion. I have my own opinions. But, you know, where do you draw the line? Where do you say, I don't want this customer? Where do you say, I don't want this job?
Oh, can I go?
Given different circumstances, I would guess, like, I don't know. You go to a house to pick up a computer, and they're showing you their problems, and you have to take the computer home. It's a desktop, and you reach down to move the box, and like roaches scatter everywhere.
Oh,
you know, those kind of jobs. You know, or you get the customer that comes in your shop and just starts gazing around and moseying around with the crazed look in their eye, or the ones that want to sit there and like bring their computer to you and think that you're going to sit right there and just start it. Or how about the ones that as soon as they leave, they freaking call you like every 20 minutes. And then how about the ones that are just impatient, that walk in and expect you to have something done in like 30 minutes. You got to be really careful. I don't want any of those, but actually I made money off of some of those if you can deal with them in certain ways. I'll give you an example. I had a guy call me who was just the most impatient person, a customer I've ever had. He calls me, 9:30 Monday morning and says, can you do data transfer? I says, yeah, sure. What all is involved with that? Well, I try to explain to him that I try to do diagnostics, blah, blah, blah. He goes, I don't care about none of that. And I just want to, can you transfer my data? Well, sure. How long will it take? How long will it take? Well, it just depends on how much data. Where are you located? Well, I'm going to be there. I'm leaving the house right now. Right now, I'll be there in 30 minutes. So I hardly have time to explain myself, explain my business, explain nothing. He's coming. So he shows up to my shop. I go to fill out paperwork. He goes, I don't care about none of that paperwork. I don't do that. I don't do that. Here's my hard drive. Okay, on and on and on. The guy was just.
Did he pull cash out of his pocket? Because that's probably the only way I would work with that dude.
The bottom line of the story was this guy was a doctor who was about to board his 60-foot vessel to go to the Bahamas, and his old laptop, fell off the counter or whatever, and he had his navigation software on it, and basically he just wanted to cut through all the bull and get right to the point of just give me my dang data. So yeah, he paid me threefold. But
Wow.
What would you have done, Dor, or what would you have done, Steve or Chris? I mean, those are the type of customers that sometimes you just want to hang up on.
Yeah.
And say, forget it. And it actually, he told me that I was the third person that he called that morning, and I was the only one that I guess put up with his crap.
Seriously.
I don't know, but it paid off. So sometimes it's a fine line there.
I don't know. My 2 cents on this is, if the person is approaching insanity, then just get him away from me, because I don't care if he pays me out of his wallet. He's going to come back tomorrow and want a refund, or he's going to come back tomorrow and forget that he paid me money or say that I ripped them off or something. Crazy people, I don't want them in my business, nowhere near my business, because they will drive all the sane people and good customers I have away. Can you imagine if you have 4 of your good customers in your shop or whatever, and this nut is in your shop just spewing out whatever craziness he wants to talk about? It's just bad for business. So if you're approaching insanity, you're kind of crazy, I don't want them. I'll pass. Now, some people are better at controlling crazy people than others and can kind of get into their space and get them to be at least a little sane once in a while. Okay, if you're good at controlling people and good at doing that, that's fine if you think you can handle it. But if you're taking in this random particle that's just going to bounce off all your walls and just cause confusion in your life, basically, if there's confusion going to be added to my life from that person, I don't want them. So
well, not just the crazy people though. It's also the impatient ones. The ones that can get you razzled. And put more stress on your job than what it's worth.
Yeah, I know, but the guy with the boat, I mean, at least he had a story. At least you knew why he was being in such a rush. Like, he wasn't just doing that as his normal personality, right? Like
I took it. That's just how he is.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He's a doctor. You know how they are. I mean, they want everything now. They don't want to hear a bunch of nothing. They just.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
I love crazy people, man. They're my favorite to deal with. They're so much fun. They make my job interesting. What I can't stand is the people that are rude or that are asking for something that's not feasible and blaming you that you can't do it. Like the ones that are just so far out, they just have no idea what's going on. And they yell at you for no reason. Those are the ones I can't stand. But crazies? Oh, crazies are fantastic. I get in their face. I'm aggressive, right? I have no problem talking back to people and getting it back in their face and interrupting them if they interrupt me. It's fun.
I can see. Okay, I can see
I'm
that.
in sales, right?
See?
Yeah, see, I'll admit it depends on the day. How does my wife want to go to Outback, or does she want to go to Ruth Chris? If she's thinking she wants to go to Ruth Chris, I'll take some crazy. I'll take some rude too. It honestly depends on how my business is going. And I have had customers where I just cross my arms and say, this is going to cost you a lot more than normal. And they say, why? Well, because you're an a-hole.
Yeah.
And they just look at me.
No, you never said that.
Yes, I have, because you're questioning everything I do. If I didn't know what I was doing, I'd be working at the Geek Squad. Okay?
You're right, Dor. But you are a bad businessman. I've never called my customer an asshole.
Well, this was a guy who honestly in like 4 years only called me 3 times, and every time he called me, he was more insistent. And to be honest, the one thing that really turns me off is someone throwing out racial slurs for no reason immediately turns me right off. You know, there's much better reasons to hate people than just skin color, you know, because there's plenty of stupid people out there. So that's just one thing that immediately turns me off. And this guy every time would say really graphically nasty racial things for no reason. So I just broke down and said one time, if I'm doing this for you, I said, I'll be happy to do this for you, but this is going to cost you 3 times the amount. And I was first thinking saying, well, you know, times are hard, you know, kids in the hospital or something like that. And I was like, no, I'm just going to tell him he's an a-hole.
Okay.
And to be honest, he stopped being such an a-hole.
Okay. Okay. You put it in context. I see what you mean.
But that's fair.
I'll work for anybody unless they curse. If I don't care if they swear. If they swear while I'm there and they're this effing computer, but not at me, they're just cursing the computer, I care less about that. That makes no difference to me. But if they start swearing at me for something, that's it. That's game over. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm out of there. I either hang up the phone or I walk out. And you know what? I've had it before where people call me swearing or saying something, and I just hang up. I just when they're cursing or yelling, I just hang up the phone. And 95% of the time, they call back apologizing because they realize that they're just being silly. Usually they'll be swearing. They'll go, "Oh, this is effing bull. I can't believe you even gave me this effing service." I'm like, "Sir, please stop swearing at me. This isn't going to solve anything." Oh, F this, F that, then click. And then they call back and they go, you know, "Oh, I'm sorry, you know, for swearing." Okay, if you want to talk to me like a rational person, like we're doing business together and you want me to help you, no problem. I'm here. But if you swear at me again, I will never, ever pick up the phone again for you. And every time, I've owned 2 businesses and one was used appliances. So I had a lot of interesting customers. Shall we call them that? Every time it worked perfectly. It really diffused it. But you had to make sure just before you hung up, you said, "Please stop swearing at me" in a really nice tone or something, or "Please stop yelling at me." And if they didn't, then you hang up, because at that point you've asked nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm sad. I've only had one computer where I knew before picking it up, it was filled with moving things and it wasn't powered by electricity. I told that person straight up, I said, "I can't bring this into my house." They were like, "Why? What's wrong?" I said, "I'm going to have to charge you like $8,000 for this." And they said, "Why?" I said, "Because I think there's a chance that there's roaches in it." And the husband screamed, "No blank there is." I was like, "Well, okay." I said, "If you want me to work on this, I definitely appreciate your business. I can go get the part. I can go out on your back picnic table and I can replace this part for you, but you're going to pay for my time." And it was a power supply and it ended up almost costing half as much as a new computer.
Did you do it? Did you do that job? How bad was it, roach wise? I
just put it this way. When I took the old power supply out, I threw it and it was like grassy stuff and I could see definite movement over there.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Absolutely moved. So I literally put everything back in. I only had the one tool out from the car I knew I would need. So I didn't even have my bag there. You know what I mean? It was on the picnic table. I stood back. You know, I'm thinking they're not going to come up my pants leg or anything, because if I bring them home, wife kill me. And it's like, those are the people, honestly, I hate putting it like this. Those are the people that really need us. The people that can't afford all this kind of stuff. So they're honestly more thankful, it seems like. Granted, they can't tell other people who can really afford our services about us.
They all need us. I don't think it's not favorite people who don't have a lot of money.
The people that have houses I could fit 5 in my house in, they don't need us. They can go buy a new computer every time. Every time anything happens. "Oh, this mouse is dirty. Let me go buy a new computer." They can. They have too much money. You know what I mean? I've seen it.
I hate when people because somebody has a lot of money makes they have the disadvantage. There's nothing wrong with having a lot of money.
Oh, I'm not talking bad about them. It's just
they still have data they need recovered and stuff.
Right. For those kind of
rich people are people too.
Yeah,
be nice to rich people.
They don't share with me.
Okay.
I like to try to target the rich.
Oh yeah. That's where I specifically went into my AdWords, and you can now like drag your map, and I specifically went money. I'm not playing around.
Oh man. Timster, did we answer your question?
Yes, it's great, man. Every tech's got his own view on that subject. I think is really interesting, and it's all about the people and how you handle people, and people skills are really important in the computer repair field. I think.
I agree with you, big time.
The most important part. Anybody can fix a computer.
Seriously.
Yeah, and I'll harken back. Listen to Chris's Podnutz episode. He said it unconditionally.
I think there's an error on the episode. I got to go check. I think it's not. Well,
don't go listen to that episode.
No, I mean not with Chris said. I think it's not running for some reason. I'll check after the show.
Yeah, because like he said, you have to listen to people. Let them vent. Listen to them.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dora.
It just enables you to not speak over their heads, and you can they're going to tell you exactly what they want you to say back to them. They want to be happy, and they want to let you know how to make them happy.
Definitely. When I had my shop, people brought their computers to me, not to the Geek Force. They brought it to me. They wanted me to fix their computer. So yeah, I think it's huge. Chris, what do you want to talk about?
Okay. So I've been thinking of how I'm going to grow my business, which I'm sure we all are. And I was listening to Podnutz Pro, going, business. Yeah, business. That's what I'm going to get into. And then I downloaded Windows Server, and I put it on a box, and I tried to figure out how to do Active Directory and all these other things. And I went, okay, not business. No, definitely not doing business. But then I thought, there's got to be something else here. Okay, there's got to be businesses that need things. So what I want to talk about is, do businesses really need servers? And
I knew I should have had Matt Rainey on this show.
That's a good one.
I knew I should have had him because he did a whole episode on that. All right, tell us why.
Listen to that.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm going after is sort of the I would say 25 people and under, and employees, in a business. And if you look at the statistics I'm Canada, so I'll say Stats Can, but I'm sure in America it's similar. 75% of businesses are 20 people and under. That's just what it is. That's the bulk of businesses out there. So they have computer needs as well. They maybe don't have the same amount of money. And do they need a server? I don't think they do personally. So a server. So server is give or take for a small business server. If you buy one from Dell and configure it with a little bit of RAID and buy the small business server licenses and all that kind of stuff, sort of $5,000 to $7,000. Labor to install it, $750. Static IP address from your ISP, expensive. And you still need to get antivirus, and you still need some managed IT support to keep the thing up and running all the time. So that's a lot of money for a small company of even 5 people. When do they really need that? So this is what I thought I've come up with. This is what I think a company could do just as well with a quarter of the cost, and they wouldn't be missing anything. A network attached storage for sharing files and backups, running Linux, which most network attached storage are. Yes, Dor, there you go. Maybe.
I'm smiling.
Yeah. The next thing, so that's for your backup and sharing files. Fantastic. The next would be email. So there's 2 options for that. One is Google Apps, which is free up to 50 users, or you can get paid ones as well that have a little bit more features, but I don't even know if it's worth it. Or another great option is what I do is online Exchange server. So you pay per user, $5 to $10 per user per month, and you get all the features of Exchange. It's off-site, so you don't have to worry about configuring Exchange and messing around with it. It's great. It's not too expensive for 5-10 people. Maybe $100 a month for that. You get a router. Okay, maybe you need the more expensive router. I still don't think you do if you don't have a server and a dedicated IP. So just a regular even home router. Some managed IT services with technology adventures would definitely be good in there. Set up open DNS maybe for them to stop some of the stuff coming in and out that doesn't need to, and
that sounds good to me.
Smart man. Smart man.
Hey, I'm sold.
Yep.
And then Kaspersky internet security and or antivirus, depending on how bad it is, and then 6 hours of labor. All that is around $2,000. The server is around anywhere from $7,000 to $10,000. And is it any better? And then you have to
worry about hardware failure.
Yeah, and is it any better? I just don't know if it is. I personally don't think it is, so that's what I'm going for. I'm going out and I'm pushing this new thing I have right now, and I'm selling it with Office 365 and or Exchange Server and NAS and everything, and I've already sold 3 to these businesses. I had no businesses 2 weeks ago. So you know what? It's where I'm going.
I'm going to be in a position in about a week from a customer who owns a small business, like you say, under 20 employees, and he wants me to take a look at what he's got, and just told me straight up that he doesn't want to spend that $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for big servers and all that other stuff. He wants to kind of dumb it down, simplify it a little bit, and just want to know what I can come up with. So I'm just kind of right up my alley, and I appreciate the ideas.
Yeah, it sounds good to me too.
And I'll just say
the online exchange, is that like instant? How
push?
Have you used it much, Chris?
I have it. I've used it for since I started my business. I signed up for it in July of 2010. And I've been using it ever since. Knock on wood, it's never gone down. It's push, so it's instant. It syncs between all my computers, my Macs, my iPhones, my Outlook. I've sold it to about 8 people so far, 8 customers, and you make a percentage every month. So it's not like I just sell it once and that's it. I make a percentage every
How much is
month.
a percentage?
I think it's 15%. So it's not a lot of money, but it starts adding up, and it's where I make the money is setting up the online exchange, right? So I charge them my labor to set up their online exchange.
Well, still, if you have enough users, that'll definitely add up.
Yeah. And the other thing I was going to add to this too, which is off-site backup, which you can make some money on too. But sorry, Tim, sir. Yeah, the online exchange works really, really good. Try it. So if you go to Rackspace, you can get a 15-day free trial.
Cool. Good
Very
tip.
Cool. And I'll just throw out there is no best. There is no best. There will never be a best. It's all, what are you comfortable with supporting is the real ultimate answer. I do believe you are right. 90% of the businesses out there below 100 people even don't need real servers. They don't. And with the local NAS, there are plenty of Linux-based solutions that even if they're using Active Directory for their login and everything, you can easily integrate into that and grant permissions from the normal Active Directory to say whether or not they have access to this share, that share, the whole share, none of the share.
Yeah, so I have so just to test all this, I bought everything I just talked about, which isn't very much, all of our costs, right? It's maybe cost me $500 to buy everything because I wanted to test it in my business to see how it worked, and I've tested it for about 3 months, and I found it was working perfect. I bought a Synology box, a NAS box, and the Synology system, like their operating system, is so awesome. It has everything you could possibly need. You can give users rights to different shares.
How's that spelled?
Synology, Synology. You can do time machine backups with it. You can do regular backups with it. You can do the Synology RAID, which is sort of their sort of JBOD or kind of thing. Or you can do full RAID 0, 1, 5, whatever. You can do all the RAIDs. You can get them from 2 to 5 drive. I have a 4 drive. And so I have it in RAID 5. And it's super fast. I forget what speeds I was getting, but plenty fast enough for sharing files and for doing backup. And that machine, the box, and so I went crazy because it's me. I bought like one of the higher end ones and 5 1 terabyte drives, and I was still at $550. So I have 4 terabytes worth of storage, and I was at $500. Most businesses aren't going to need that, but that was just me. But you can get cheaper Synologies as well that are 200, and then 2 1 terabyte drives. Put them in RAID 0 or RAID 1, pardon me, and you're good to go. You have duplicate backup. It's running Linux in the far back. Synology just builds the interface over it. You can log in remotely. You can just do everything. it's not a server. There's no doubt. It's definitely not a server, but it's almost a server. One more thing on Online Exchange, it has that OWA feature where you can get to your email through a web browser as well if you don't have access to, you know, Outlook or your iPhone or something like that. So
nice.
Yeah. Are these? Well, I get the idea. Synology is expensive, eh?
Well, no, yes. He said it was just $500 for that box.
Comparative to a server, it's cheap as chips. For a residential person, it's expensive. But to a business, when they are hearing guys like Matt Rainey coming in, which I love him and I love that podcast, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy. But I was just saying, you know, guys like him coming in and selling them a $7,000 server, or me coming in and selling them a $500 NAS. Well, obviously the NAS isn't very expensive anymore.
Well, okay, here's my only question, Chris. How would you then offsite back up that NAS?
So you can set up. So, on the NAS, how would I offsite backup on the NAS? Synology does have, you can install what's a Jungle Disk onto it, and you could upload it to the Amazon EC3 servers. I'm using a different backup, and I haven't figured out how to make it work with the NAS. I don't know. I think what I would do is, instead of backing up the NAS, I would probably put the little, you know, let's call it, it's not Carbonite, but we'll say Carbonite stub on each user's computer and just individually back up there. I think that would be the way to do it. But I haven't done any of the offsite yet, so that's just a new thing that I haven't figured out how to implement yet.
That's honestly, to be honest, Chris, this is one of the smartest things I think I've heard. Small business is such a plethora. Because like here in the U.S., if you are a small business and you have less than 50 people hired, you're counted as unemployed, and so are your employees. So when people hear these crazy unemployment rate, it's because small business is taking off so strong. You know, I believe that's where you can get your hooks in and build like that tech girl networking with customers that can take you far.
Good stuff, guys. I like it. Hey, I know I'm throwing this at you guys, but I think how we should do the format, and I just thought of this as we're doing the show, so don't worry if you're not prepared. We're all going to bring something like you guys did, and then I think I would like to throw it all over again, and just give a tip, like one tip from each guy, and then we'll end off the show. So if you want a couple minutes to think of something, or does anybody want to go first?
Well, my tip, and it isn't really a tip, I don't care, I'm saying it anyway. Chris, I don't know, I'm saying this on the air, and I don't care. Nobody else send me an email. Chris, did you get my email to the invitation to the Google Apps presentation?
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, I just got that. Okay. That was yesterday, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Google Apps always puts on these presentations. Yes, it's bias. Of course it's bias. It's Google talking about Google. But the services they are offering for like the small business stuff, it is very, very interesting. And people say one of the issues is security. No, it's not. Okay. The security you can put on your business is nothing compared to the security Google can put on their servers. Granted, they're a bigger target. I'm not dumb, but their security standards are so freaking high. You know,
how do you know that?
Well, because I went to the Google Apps Web Seminar where they are PCI compliant beyond belief. Everything is double encrypted in secured areas where you have to have 3 forms of identification: who you are, what you have, and what you know. And you have to go by armed guards to get to the actual data where it is stored. And it's in an undisclosed place that basically no one knows except for the people working on the equipment. And with that said, so the data really, the weakest point is the people working on the data. Well, guess what? In that small business, the weakest point is the people working on that data. So the server security is really the last security you need to worry about. You need to worry about, like what Chris is doing, putting Kaspersky Internet Suite on it. I'm sorry, Kaspersky is still, I believe, one of the best. And you need to have that first line of thing up, the first barrier up, to try to stop that weakest link kind of thing. I would love it if you would document some of this process, Chris, because I need to go towards this.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to do something like that.
Yeah, it's good stuff. You know, I don't, if I say I went back into business, me personally, I just from using my Gmail, just from using Gmail and Docs, I would be comfortable using Google Apps in a business, because just from my Gmail, it's got to be built on the same type of architecture. It's rock solid, no spam. So I think it's really cool using that. I can't say that I would do it instead of a server because you know what? If I grew up my whole life, I learned servers, I knew about servers, I've installed hundreds of servers. I might have 100 reasons why a server's better, but I don't. Yeah. I don't know anything about them. I'm like you say Active Directory, and I just want to go hide in a corner. Like it's just, so I don't have the reality on that, and I tend to push it away. But we'll get Matt on. I'll ask Matt on Podnutz Pro about that whole idea, and I'm curious now to see what he would say about it.
He's gonna rip me to shreds.
He might not. You know, he might. I don't know what he's gonna say. I'm curious.
He's probably just going to bring up some really good, valid
points,
arguments to that. You know.
Yep. Yes.
Yeah, he's smart.
Tips. And I have a quick tip for Timster too.
Okay.
Learn the crazy eyes. So when you deal with somebody and they're nuts or they're insane, you learn the crazy eyes, and they straighten right up.
That would be. I'm scared already.
Me too.
Tim, what's your tip?
Just established business owners. They already sort of have been through the ringer with people, and they know how to deal with. They know the signs, and they know how to deal with certain customers. The ones that are just getting off the ground, I would say you just kind of feel your way. I mean. You kind of learn from your mistakes type of thing when it comes to that. So, and just, above all, keep your composure, stay businesslike. Don't lose your temper if you're a short-tempered person, and don't curse. Don't just stay professional. Above all, learn from your mistakes with customers.
I think it's a great tip, man. It definitely is. Words of wisdom.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and see, guys, if you start snapping out at all your customers, how much business you're going to have. You'll see it. All right, Chris, how about a tip from you?
Yeah. Think outside of the computer business. We all can fix computers. There is hundreds of computer repair guys driving around repairing computers. You can't be that guy and be really, really successful. You can maybe make an okay living, but you need to think outside the box. Try and do something a little different. It's all I'm ever thinking about is how I can be different from the guy down the street, because if I don't have any way of differentiating myself, I can't tell the customer why I'm better. So think of something that makes you different. It might not sound different, but it is, like just anything. Just try and be just a little bit different, and you all have it in you. You all have something that makes you better than the next guy. Just show the customer what that is, and make a product with it.
Dude, that's awesome. That was such a successful action for me. And I read a book that talks about it, Chris, and he had words for it. He called it the unique selling proposition. Come up for your business with a unique selling proposition. I think it was David Allen, and I think the book was Multiple Sources of Income. And that got me through like my internet marketing endeavors, my computer repair endeavors. And for me, my unique selling proposition, for me, you guys might not like this, was my price. I had a low price, and that's what I flaunted. That's what I put up on my sign in my store. That's what I put on my website, and that was my unique selling proposition, so that's what got me my business. It doesn't have to be your price. Like, my low price was my unique selling proposition. It's what made me unique from the guy down the street, because he wasn't charging that. But your unique selling proposition could be anything. It's like Chris said, it's the thing that makes you unique, and I think every business definitely has to have that. Good tip.
I'll just put in what you and Chris just said reinforces something I learned a long time ago. You as a business owner can only offer 2 out of these 3 things, and it's your decision what they are. Good, fast, cheap. You could only be 2 out of the 3. If you're good and fast, you sure ain't cheap. If you're good and cheap, you sure ain't fast. So, yeah, you have to focus on one of these.
That's interesting.
That. So,
never thought
so
about
Steve,
that.
So Steve, see, I guess you were kind of slow then.
No, that's why I don't know. I don't agree with. At least I want to be fast. At least, can I be fast, Door, please?
It's up to you. It's your choice.
What was the other one I can't be?
But you can't be all 3. Good, fast, and cheap.
I was all 3.
You can't be all 3.
That's not written in stone. I was definitely all 3. Thanks, Timster. All right. Hey, if we got one voicemail here, and if anybody wants to send us a voicemail, you can definitely do that. Call 7076 Podnut and say I have a voicemail for Podnutz, and give us say whatever you want to say. If you want to send us an email for the show, send it at mail@podnutz.com. Don't have any emails. I do have a voicemail here. Let me hit record here, so I'm recording it on the audio part, and let's see what this is. It's Doors area. No, it's not. It's a New York number. Okay. Turn off some Google Voice action here, play the message, and let's just see what happens. Yeah, just as I suspected. That ain't happening. How about...
And for all the techs out there...
Oh, it's like our number one fan. I love Joe. This is Joe. He leaves the best emails. He bolsters our confidence. Here he is.
Yeah, Steve, this is Joe from Tennessee again, and I wanted to tell you I love the new format on Podnutz. And for all the techs out there, if you're not listening to all Steve's shows, you're costing yourself money. I took Chris's idea for Podnutz, listened to it yesterday morning, yesterday afternoon. I sold it to a client on 4 computers at one time. Keep listening. It is a great show. Thanks, and bye.
That was Chris's tip. He took Chris's tip, sold 4 computers at once. Joe, keep sending those emails, man. I love them. I'm glad you're giving great advice, Joe, by the way. Listen to the shows. They're definitely out there to get you guys doing better in your business. I'm glad it's helping you, Joe. And, of course, I'm happy we have awesome guests on the show, like Steve McLaughlin, the Door-to-Door Geek. Dora, what would you like to say to the folks before we end off?
Love, peace, and hair grease. Now, go to if you're new to PC repair, a great boost to your education is betterpctech.com.
Very good. The spokesman for betterpctech.com, Steve McLaughlin, the Door-to-Door Geek.
I like it.
I do too. I put ads in the beginning of each of the Podnutz shows for that because it's so awesome. Tim Sturr, what would you like to say before we end off?
Great place to get some help with computer repair, the Podnutz forums. And you can find me at timscomputerfix.com and on Twitter at timster_.
Awesome. How about you, Chris?
Yeah, good luck, everybody out there. Sell lots, make money. Chris at Tech Adventures on Twitter.
Awesome. If anybody wants to watch these live shows in a continuous loop till you can't take any more, we offer that at podnutz.tv. It's in beta now. Suffer through the 30-second commercial, which you're going to have to watch. I did not put it there. It's not mine. Justin TV's making money off of that. But after that 30-second commercial's over, all the shows will just go rolling through. You won't have to watch another commercial. That's kind of fun. And I totally forgot what else I was going to say. But I want to thank everybody for watching, listening, streaming. That's it for Podnutz for this week, and we'll see you next time. All righty.
Cool.
Awesome, guys.
That was a good show.
Yeah, that was a great show. That was a great show.
Chris, I like that piece of hardware, man. Because to be honest, most of the time it's cheaper to basically buy like a shuttle PC and convert it yourself. I'm sorry, I think that's really affordable. $500 for that?
What, the Synology?
Yeah, you gotta check out their software, man. Go to Synology and go to I think they call it their DSM. DSM 3.0 is the new one that just came out. It is something else, and it's all web-based. I've never seen anything like it's like a server, but it's all in a NAS. It's amazing.
The screenshots they were showing of the interface is super badass.
Yeah, it's amazing, dude. I can't believe how good
that is utterly Linux.
Oh yeah, I know it's Linux. I talked to one of the guys there, and it's running under Linux. And it's super stable. I mean, I've had this thing going since August, and I haven't done a reboot or anything. It's obviously just fantastic.
Looks like cPanel. I love cPanel.
It does look like cPanel.
And I mean, here's the big plus. And I know, if you do the backup from the client workstations, but then depending on what tool, you could basically map a drive, or have it point back to that NAS and back that up, because I don't know any small business customer that's going to need that much data. So you're really future-proofing what they're going to need.
Yeah, I put one in a customer the other day, and he had 6 PCs, and I put 2 1 TB drives in RAID 1 just to have super redundancy, right? And I put backup stuff, and by the time I had done backing up all their PCs, what was it, like 40 gig? I don't even think it was that. I can't remember what it was. Right. It was nothing. It was like the tiniest amount. I was like, wow, this was overkill. But at the same point, a 1 TB drive is $49. Like, why not, right? You might as well put it in. And we have double redundancy. I know if the NAS dies, we're in trouble, but Synology doesn't seem to go anywhere. And I mean, at that point, if the NAS dies, what do you do? Gosh, I'm not making something that's hurricane proof here.
Yeah, here's the only thing I would advise you in. Nothing is black and white. Not even how you sell something not even what you're selling to a customer. And this is one thing that Matt really understands and gets. There's a base that he likes to start with, but it depends on how short of a downtime is that customer willing to put up with. And if the whole building burns down, how quick do you need everything to be back up? The quicker you need to be back up, the more hardware you're going to have, the more online backup you're going to have, and the more you're going to pay. So totally. If the guy with the 6 computers says, I can go 2 days with one of the computers down, then you can charge them less, and you don't need as much backup or as much powerful stuff. But if they want to be back up the very next day, it's like every night you're going to need to do an image of each computer to a local server, and then if a computer blows, you can re-image it back.
Yeah, so I give those people options always when I go in there. I go, what do you want? Is your data critical? No. Well, yeah, exactly what you said. What would happen if this computer died tomorrow? What would you do? He's like, I'd send the employee home for the day. I'm like, okay, so it's not the end of the world. Obviously, we know a day I can reformat it. If the answer is, oh my God, I'd be out $500, and I'm like, okay, let's invest in some imaging software that's going to re-image these drives. So if it does die, I can get you up and running in 2 hours. Definitely that is what I always talk to the customer about, because the more impatient they are, the more I can make. So if they need it done now, well, then I sell them more stuff.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah, so far it's going good, but I don't know. Who knows? I'd like to learn service, but I got to tell you, like I said, I tried. It seemed like a lot of work. It seemed like it was going to take me a few years. Like not a few weeks, a few years before I'd have the knowledge.
I hate when I undertake something like that and hope I could do it in like a day or two, and it's
here's what I did. I did the same thing. I was like, oh, Matt can do it. I can do it. I installed it. I was like, what the hell do I do now?
Here's the whole gist of it, Chris, okay? After you install the server operating system, you still need that CD. When it's done, you have to install snap-ins. And those snap-ins are what you need for Active Directory and directory services and everything else. Honestly, just Google, YouTube, set up Active Directory 2008. And you can get it ready to go in 20, 30 minutes. But you have to, it's just like anything else. You got to know what to click and how to get it started. Now,
I get so confused with like DNS and all this other stuff too. I get DNS, but I don't understand like internal DNS, and then that goes to external DNS, and then my computers go to DNS, and then Active Directory has to talk to this, and then I watch it on a YouTube video, and the guy explains it all to me, and then I go look at the server, and I go, where's this guy now?
Right. I don't know what the hell. And to be honest, setting them up with OpenDNS, you get an extreme thumbs up to me. I don't think there's a safer, more complete solution out there, and it's frigging free.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love it. I set up all my clients on it now. It's one of the things on my managed IT services. It's one of the first things I do if anyone buys my managed IT is I set them up on Google DNS and make sure that their kids and stuff can't go to the bad sites. And I ask the dads, are you going to the bad sites?
And like here's another extreme cost saving tip. If they do want a physical exchange server in their business, just go to OpenDNS, Dine DNS, and register for a free account name. You don't need to wait for the ISP to set an MX record. You don't need to pay all this static IP crap. You don't need to pay nothing. Dine DNS, you can get an account for I think like $6 a month, and it guarantees like tech adventures at homeserver.com will point every time to your box.
I use Google DNS. Cool. I've been using Google DNS.
Well, Google DNS, good thing with that is it filters out malware and spyware. OpenDNS does the same thing, but I like the controls it has. So you can say for a whole business, you cannot go to facebook.com.
Yeah, and that's why I do it, because it gives me that same, I don't know, is it Active Directory? I don't understand server. So there's something in a server that makes it so people can't go to certain websites. So whatever that part is, it gives me that, at least, that I can, turn off Facebook. I can turn off social networking. Whatever.
By default, Windows Server can't do any of that.
Oh, is that a firewall?
Yes.
I wanted to mention the TeamSpeak chat. That's what I forgot to mention.
Yeah.
Hey, guy named Casey sent me an email. I said, "Hey, Steve, on the last Nuts at Night, you were talking about loud commercials. I just thought you might like to know. The commercials on your Podnutz.tv live stream are very loud," in caps, compared to the content. Thanks for your awesome shows, Casey.
Okay, then we have to talk louder to make them seem quiet.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. Basically, Chris, a Windows server out of the box can't do crap. It's the weakest server there is. You always have to add stuff, tweak stuff to make it do anything, except for web hosting, which it is the most vulnerable web host ever created.
Yeah, you wouldn't do that. Doesn't it seem to you, it seems to me, a server is like adding complexity for the sake of adding complexity. Like, yep. I don't see the point. Okay, again, enterprise, hey, I know nothing about that. Fair enough. Maybe that's totally needed. I'm sure it is, blah, blah, blah. But for regular people, God, it just seems like too bloody much to me.
Yeah, well, it's just like the Windows desktop for customers. They don't need domains. They don't need any options for domains on their frigging home computer. Yeah, Windows honestly needs Home Edition, Small Business Edition, Big Business Edition for everything, including servers, because the Windows Server is not geared towards small business at all. And the Small Business Edition, it has the same crap in it. It just has a couple prettier interfaces.
Yeah, wizards your way through it, right?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that at all. To be honest, the only Windows Server I was ever a fan of was Windows Home Server, because you could take image backups of the computer and restore them quick.
So I'll tell you, there's another thing that I'm thinking about doing that's around this thing. So have you heard about Windows Small Business Server Essentials, which is like a really stripped down Windows Server, like really stripped down, like no Exchange. It may have some sort of like Active Directory or something, but it's pretty much a backup. And then also, is it Active Directory where everyone logs into that part to authenticate? Is that what Active Directory is? Yeah. Okay. Yep. So it's got maybe that for authentication, and then you do everything else out on the cloud on Microsoft, the Office 365, which is SharePoint, Microsoft Exchange, and Intune or something. So I know you're scared of Windows, but if it's a Windows shop, that's not a bad option either, because that's a lot cheaper, right?
Yeah, but I hate SharePoint because there's been 3 active exploits in SharePoint that have been known for 3 years and they haven't patched them yet. SharePoint scares the dupe out of me. Yeah, but Active Directory, here's the gimmick. I know a Linux guy in Virginia loves Linux passionately. He says in his enterprise, he cannot use Linux on any desktop, period. Can't. Because the Active Directory services, permissions, rights, GPOs are second to none. And unless you need the ability to really control the end user desktop, Windows Server, in my opinion, is a touch too much. You don't need it. You know what I mean? If you really want to limit what they can do, what they can load, what they can run, what they can see, then Active Directory and directory services are the answer. And there is nothing more complex than Microsoft Active Directory, directory services, and GPOs. Dude, GPOs, I seriously think like I lost 10% of the hair on my head when I first started learning about GPOs.
Is that like G.I. Joes?
Yeah. GPOs are policies. And what it is you make a policy.
Group policies.
Right. It's a policy saying anyone in this group can access this shared drive, but policies are so broad sweeping, it's ridiculous. This user cannot insert a USB drive, and a different policy. This user cannot run Notepad. Another policy, this user, when they log into the desktop, will only see this. Another policy, when this user goes, I mean, it's just absurd the level of that group policies go on Active Directory. And why Matt loves the servers that he does is because control.
Right.
He has that Hulk Hogan 1983 pointing at his hand saying, I got the control right here. And that comes at a price for the customer and him, because that control is a lot of responsibility and it's a lot to learn.
Yeah, I just wonder if, do most businesses that are under 100 or 200 people need any of that group policy stuff? And at that point, you don't even use SBS, right? You go up into regular server, because isn't SBS 75 and under only? So it's it just seems to me, if it's 75 and under, do you need group policy? I guess there's businesses that need it. I could see some, but enterprises are usually big.
Right. Here's what they typically do with smaller businesses. They basically, you as an admin go onto a computer and you set a computer policy. So then what it turns out is not this user's role is this policy, but that computer over there, that's going to be the drafting computer. It can only do these things. That computer over here is the secretary's computer. It can only do those things. When you're below small business, those policies are much more digestible because there's a limited number of them. But 90% of the crap you need to do in a small business is in that little bit of policy. This person cannot even run Internet Explorer. This person cannot install software, and it's always a computer on those local policies. 90% of the time, that's all you need. You just can't remotely manage them as easy.
One more thing, and also talking about it. Another thing that made me think of all this was I went to 2 small businesses that both had small business server in them. And I went to all the computers, and there was only like maybe 6 or 8. And both these businesses, how people were working? They were remote desktoping into the small business server. And the customers calling me, asking me why the server is infected all the time.
Oh my goodness.
So they were all remote desktoping into it. So this is the thing, is these people buy this small business server, they buy it from a guy, but then they don't deal with the guy anymore, and because they can't afford it or something, and they try and figure these things out on their own, and it just ends up being a freaking disaster. It's like, of course you're going to get a virus. You're all remote desktoping into the Windows server to use the email client that's on the server or Firefox, because there was some weird proxy set up that no one could get out of. I was just like, oh my God, I don't even know what to do with this. And
that's
it's
nuts.
just, so that's what made me think of it all is the complexity was too much.
Yeah. And having it offsite leaves them a little bit more ignorant in my eyes, which is better.
Yeah, I'm the admin offsite. They can have it at the admin credentials, but I just admin from my house. It's simple. Again, they don't have to have a static IP. It's just simple for me. It's definitely, I'm sure there's problems with it, but I don't know.
Right. And the router switch thing, it all depends on how much traffic they have flowing. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could have 20 people and still only need 4 home routers. It'll work fine. It just depends on what are they doing. If you have,
the only thing I didn't know if I was doing right was using. So what I did last time was use like a good router, like a $200 router, and then I got just a gigabit switch. It was a 24-port gigabit switch, unmanaged because there was no reason to manage anything, and so there was tons of. That was fine. And I don't know if that's right though. I don't know if I should be getting the better firewall router part, because I'm not a network guru, but it worked.
Hey guys, hey, how about we take the conversation to TeamSpeak, because I'm going to shut all this stuff down. Chris, have you downloaded TeamSpeak yet?
No, what do you do? I don't know how to do it.
TeamSpeak 3.
It's like a little app. It's easier than Skype.
And it uses much less bandwidth.
And you could here's the if you download it, the server we use, I'll put it in the chat. Are you in the lounge chat, Chris, or?
Oh,
yeah,
man.
lounge chat, yeah.
If anybody else wants to join in too, check it out. Because this way, people talk all night. You got Fubar Johnny in there, Timster, Acid, everybody.
The server took a dump last night, I think.
Out of nowhere, yeah. And I claimed it was running on a Windows box, and I was wrong.
It's Podnutz.
It's called?
Yeah, TeamSpeak. Download the TeamSpeak client. The server is podnutz.instantts.net. you'll know where to type that, and it's port 4160. I don't know who's hosting the server. Who's hosting that server?
Fubar Johnny has it on a internet server.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
but that's the impression I got. Yeah,
but I love it, man. It's awesome. I have my control button is the button I use to talk. So,
yeah, that's the one thing we ask, because there's right here we only got 4 people, Chris. There it's easily 10. So what we ask people to do is to enable what's called push to talk. So there's not 10 people's static all going on at the same time.
I see. Okay.
Anybody watching the live stream though, it's just for everybody. It's awesome. Download TeamSpeak. I was in it last night, and was it the night before too? I can't remember, but it's a lot of fun, and people to talk to all the time.
Yeah,
computer.
I gotta go to the party, and I'll see everybody later. I gotta be up in 4 hours.
Bye, Dor. Thanks.
See you, Dor.
Yeah.
Take it easy, guys.
Hey, Dor. Thanks for everything tonight. Good shows.
No problem, man.
See ya.
Yeah. See you later, guys.
See you, Dor.
Have a good one.
See you, Timster.
Okay.
See you, Chris.
See you, bud.
Talk to you later. And thank you, everybody, for watching, listening, and streaming. A lot of G's when I say that. Go to download TeamSpeak. Again, the server's podnutz.instantts.net. The port is 4160. And log in and just chat away. It's fun. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.